All of us love very much watching Taqasim, and most of us love very much performing Taqasim on the stage. But what is the meaning of Taqasim? What is the meaning behind Taqasim? How we discovered it? And why we doing something like that? And a lot of questions. The answer of these questions you will find and much more in this video. Taqasim means in English division or sharing. I prefer sharing much more than division because of the history. I mean the history of the music or the history of this word anyway. It is not Arabic word or Egyptian word, but I think it is Turkish or maybe Persian. Most of you heard about Taqasim Square in Turkey, in Istanbul. People long ago were preparing their products and sharing the products together or preparing the products for sale or buy by sharing and something like that. It was long ago like this way. But this word came to the Arabic language by or because of music, for example, as we are talking now about. So the music or the musicians used this word exactly for a special type of play they will do or they will perform, play music. In the beginning was to synchronize their musical instruments together as a group. They will play music, and each one of them has to play something, a little things, to let the others understand exactly how all of them will be in or inside the maqam. It was like this way in the beginning, but of course we will not forget that the way of the singers too, because singers long ago in the Arab countries also were using the Taqasim to show exactly how strong they are when they using a special maqam or a special maqam to play by their vocals, by their voice, the singer by her voice or his voice, how he can move inside the maqam and give you his power or show you exactly how strong he is or she is when they or before they going to do or to perform their song. It was something like that. On the other hand, also they prepared themselves to be inside the maqam which the musicians will play with them too. It is like this way, but we have to know something. Taqasim was not only in the Arab countries, it was in the beginning also long ago in ancient Egyptian Egypt, I mean the Egyptian history also long ago inside temples when singers were using this way as an a cappella inside temples. So this is another story, but it is wonderful too because we discovered the a cappella this time long ago here in Egypt. Throughout the history, after the Islamic empire appeared, a lot of societies came inside and we started to share their thinking and their way of life, also their music and a lot of things like that together inside the Islamic empire. So for this reason, we can find now the Taqasim appeared in this time long ago or in the beginning of the Islamic era, as we can say. So the musician, he has to play a little bit music to show exactly that he understands the maqam and to show exactly the other musicians that he will be inside this maqam or they will go together inside this maqam. It was something like that. One point I love to tell you about. In Europe, when they're going to create music and song, they create the music first, then they write the lyric and then they combine them together, which vice versa in the Arab countries, we here create the lyric first, then later we create the music on it. So this is the difference between both. But in the Arab countries here, musicians, as I told you, they were playing the Taqasim in the beginning to show exactly all of them understand the maqam which they will go through or the maqams they will use while they play their music. And on the other hand, the singer too. He has to or she has to show them that she understand or he understand the maqam. One point also, the singers long ago, sometimes they play the music without using, they play the song without using the music or out of the music. So for this reason, they has to be inside or she has to be inside the maqam. This is exactly the beginning of Taqasim in the Arab countries. Later, dancers start to feel the Taqasim and they start to play onto the Taqasim, perform onto Taqasim to show exactly how strong they are, the same as the musicians, the same as the singers. So we start to use the maqam, the Taqasim as a special type of maqam and how we can move on. For this reason, we have to understand exactly the maqams, to know exactly the meaning behind the maqam and how we can move on, how we can use the maqam to explain the meaning behind the maqam using our bodies, and it is improvisation. So this is very important point. You have to know exactly. When I am dancing on Taqasim, I do an improvisation. It is exactly, by the way, the same as the musicians, the same as singers too. It is type of improvisation for all of us to show exactly how we can synchronize our movements with the music, or the musicians, how they synchronize the music, the tone of their musical instruments together, and exactly also the singer. So it is a combined way of art. It is fantastic, by the way. So for this reason, the dancers, they used it like this way. So for this point exactly, we have to know that if anyone wants to play or to perform Taqasim, she has to understand actually right well the maqam, and a lot of movements she has to collect in her mind. Then in the end she will move on, or she will go out of the music or out of the meaning what she play on the stage. The difference between the Taqasim and the darabuka or the rhythm, the solo rhythm, is in the solo rhythm or this play, the rhythm actually, it is something I can understand faster than the Taqasim, because it is dum and tak, and I play on dum and tak. But in Taqasim, it is continuously music. Sometimes, yes, some type of musical instruments can give me the dum and tak in Taqasim, such as the kanun, for example, or the oud, for example, oud, for example. But most of the time, the Taqasim is type of continuously music tone. So I have to know exactly how I move on this tone and how can I explain exactly the meaning of this tone. Sometimes tones can be sad, other time tones can be happy. So I have to know the difference between both. This is one example. We have much more examples, but this is one example. So I have to understand how I move like this way or that way or vice versa, and so on and so on. So this is exactly the story of Taqasim. Also in Egypt we have music like this way long ago, but we didn't use Taqasim as it is in the Arab countries. Later, when we became inside, or when we went inside the Islamic empire, we start to use Taqasim step by step. We start to use Taqasim inside our music and songs. As you see now, Taqasim must be in the beginning, not in the middle or the end of the music or the song. Taqasim also, or the movements of Taqasim, expose its performer, because people will understand immediately my feeling. Of course, I can hide some of my feeling during my dance, but in Taqasim, 80% of my feeling can go out, and Taqasim is, as I told you, improvisation, which it is exactly what I feel, what I do, and I move with the music or with the song. I mean the tone or the vocal, the tone of the singer, without know exactly what he or she will change later or something like this. So I have to be focused too much on the music or the way of the music and the tone of or on the in the tone or on the tone of the singer to move exactly same as she or the musician play. So for this reason, Taqasim is difficult. It's not so easy to doing something like that. But it is a type of improvisation. So for this reason, I have to have a lot of movements. I have to understand a lot of movements and to know exactly how can I move with them through my body or using my body to know exactly how I move and how I do these movements exactly. Taqasim, as I told you, expose its performers such as lover, hater, calm, anxious, and much more. So I have to be careful when I'm going to dance Taqasim, and I have to know exactly that people will understand my feeling immediately in Taqasim. As I told you in the beginning, we love very much watching Taqasim, and we love very much to dance Taqasim on the stage. So be careful when you're going to use Taqasim in dancing. You have to understand exactly all these points I explained to you. On the other hand, most of the old dancers, I mean exactly in golden era, dancers were very beautiful when they're going to perform Taqasim on the stage because they were understand exactly all these points too. This was my video today about Taqasim, and of course I'll be waiting for your comments. And if this is first time watching this video or this is the first time visiting the channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button below and wait for my next video.